With FNAF Security Breach coming at you faster than a sprinting foxy, we figured it would be a good idea to revisit the topic that put us on r/fnafcringe, FNAF Creepypastas. So those involving Security Breach are what we're exploring today. Let's do it. In 10 Moondrop. As a kid, Freddy Fazbear's used to be my favorite place on Earth. The animatronics were incredible, more advanced than anything I'd ever seen, and the characters were lovable and unique. Nowadays, they still have the technology beyond our time, stuff I'm sure the government would love to get their hands on, but the atmosphere and the characters have changed. They've gotten creepier and changed from that old mom and pop shop feel that they had at their old locations. And something about this new sun animatronic just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's like it has a whole other side it doesn't want you to see. That's what it feels like anyway. And once I ran into it alone, it proved me right. The way it changed was horrifying, nothing like I would have ever expected. It's like it shed its skin to turn into that moon thing. And its voice? It got so much worse, like it had been smoking since it was born. And its nails? Oh my, it was so sharp, at least the pain went away quickly. And at 9, any price. Taylor had always loved Five Nights at Freddy's. They had all the games. Their whole room was decorated in Five Nights at Freddy's merch, from their bedspread to their dresser to their slippers. But one thing they were missing was a glam rock Freddy mask. Taylor had been searching everywhere online to find one, but the only one he'd ever found got away from him. It was on eBay, and he lost a bidding war for it. In his rage, he'd managed to find out who got it and sent them an angry message, insisting he would have paid them any price for it. That night, he woke up in the middle of the night to hear a loud thud coming from outside his bedroom door. Groggily, he assumed that it was just the dog and woke up. When he opened the door though, he saw a tall man standing before him. He was facing away, but as he turned around, you could see he was wearing the Glamrock Freddy mask. Any price, he asked, as he pulled out a large kitchen knife. In at 8, the secret level. The Christmas update for FNAF Help Wanted's flat mode was something interesting. It created a new area in the Pizza Party minigame that you could go to instead of ending the game. Everyone was making videos about this new never before seen location, and I was excited to check it out for myself. That was a big mistake. I got to the back room of the Pizza Party game once again, and this time looked to the right where a new door opens up. I clicked it and the screen goes black, but when I can see now, the level is nothing like I was shown on YouTube. Maybe they had a YouTube safe version, like maybe Scott had sent them a copy with another room. Maybe they were planning this all in unison, but oh my god, it was horrific. It was still outside that coming soon billboard like the original that was advertising Security Breach, but this time it was like a Meet Santa kind of thing too, where kids were lining up to sit on Santa's knee and tell him what they wanted for Christmas so their parents could know. And I say were because, well, I don't think they were waiting in lines anymore. The snow was red and soaked with what I can only guess was the kids' blood, and their bodies were still laying there. 15 kids, for the 15 victims of Purple Guy. The Santa was still there. I figured he was dead too, but instead, he removed his beard and somehow it was Vanny from the next game. I don't know how I didn't see it before. It felt like when Harvey Dent didn't realize it was the Joker until he takes the face mask off, but Vanny stood up and I quickly turned my game off before she had the chance to add me to her collection. And at 7, the glitch trap virus. While refreshing scottgames.com, I was waiting for a teaser for Security Breach, but then the screen went black. After waiting for a while, I saw something flash on the screen. It looked like a weird glitch trap. After it appeared, my computer got the blue screen of death, so I had to shut it off. But when I turned it back on, there were all kinds of numbers flashing by. But I swear I saw Springtrap a few times. 5 minutes later, and the screen was tinted red, and I started hearing church bells. Distorted church bells. It rang 12 times, and surely enough, it was midnight. But I swear it was like 3:30 30 seconds ago. But then it showed my desktop, and the only icon was SC877 Games. Eventually I clicked it because why not? And when it loaded, it was a close-up version of Glitch Trap's face, and it played jump scare audio. Text on screen read afton_virus.exe has started running and kept showing that over and over. After saying that a few times, the computer shut off and wouldn't turn back on. And now I have a strange desire to see my son again. And at 6, Chica's Party World. After the fall of Freddy Fazbear's, the IP to the characters were still intact, so an individual named Riley bought the rights to Chica and Freddy, the yellow bird with her signature cupcake, and the company's iconic bear. They opened a new pizzeria with new branding, inside what used to be an old mall. It had all the amenities they needed after all, plus a little more. We would regularly have officers at the location, constantly checking in to make sure that Afton never showed his face. He never did. But then we noticed neither did the owner. After talking to some employees employees while off duty, they had never met the owner either. The man was said to only arrive after the place had closed down and take the earnings from the register. We ran the owner's name against the database and there was nobody in the city with the name Riley Dramakovich, so after attaining a warrant, we discovered what we had feared most. Riley was an alias for one Vanessa Afton, William's estranged daughter, who, after running this business under the alias, had used it to kill 15 more kids in the span of a week. All after hours, and all following a pink chica around the back after they had gotten home. Suspect was arrested at 11:36 p.m. on Friday, June 18, 2027 by arresting Officer William Stagnan. Halfway through into number 5, Stuffed. Finally, my parents are bringing me to Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex with David and Joey. When we got there, Glamrock Freddy was already out in the dance zone. David, Joey, and I ran over there immediately because we all love Glamrock Freddy. He was throwing tickets around for the prize counter and said that he has more in the back. He went to get them while we collected the remaining ones. When he took a while to come back, the other children went away, but we had just gotten there, and he left so soon. So, Joey, David, and I went to go find him. We enter one of the rooms and the door closes. We turn around and see some form of weird Bonnie. It was white, and it even looked like a girl. Joey loves Bonnie though, so we went to give him a hug, and got so excited that after he hugged him, he went into shock and fainted. He must have had ketchup with him because it started pooling around him. Then everything went cold. Mom told me to keep my jacket with me, but then I see David fall over too, and then Bonnie picks him up. Then the lights go off, and I hear metal clanging together. And at 4, vanny.exe. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach has just come out. I've been a fan of the series since the beginning, especially after everyone was making their theories about the story. I wanted to play Security Breach when it came out, but I never really had money. I was looking for the game online, but all I would get was links to like pre-order it and stuff. The only links I was actually finding were to a website called Pirate Bay, and they were using a program called uTorrent. I tried installing the program and getting the game, and it worked for a while, but instead of being called Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, it was called Vanny. I guess it was to make things sneakier. I loaded the game when it installed, but it wasn't a Five Nights game. The game only had Vanny on the menu. I knew who she was because of all the theories online. She was staring at me, but her eyes always followed me. Not my cursor, but me. I loaded the game and I was the security guard, but instead of being in the security room, I was in the main door to the place. Text faded on screen saying escape, and I heard things fall behind me. I turned around and nothing was there. I tried opening the door, but the door was locked, and I needed to find a key. I went into the first room I saw, and it was the closet. There was nothing in there, but I turned around to leave, and Vanny was standing behind me. She stared at me for what felt like forever, before walking out of sight. I exited the room and checked the others. There was no key at all, and as I head back to the main room, Vanny was there at the door, key around her neck, knife in hand. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, Fake Monty. For my birthday, my dad gave me a surprise, but he said I would have to wait for all my guests to arrive before I could get it. Once all the guests had arrived, it was just a short time passing before the doorbell rang. It must have been our pizza, I thought, so I ran to answer it. I swung the door open, and standing in front of me was a massive animatronic who I knew as Montgomery Gator. Their head tilted from side to side, and they looked me up and down. I became extremely uncomfortable as it felt like their eyes were laser focused on me. Soon my dad came up behind me and greeted the animatronic. Apparently it was just a hired performer. At least that's how he talked to them. However, when Monty came inside, from their movements and the clunk of their feet, they didn't sound human. They seemed like a real animatronic. The party was awesome, and I slowly started to become more comfortable around Monty, even enjoying the presence of my favorite fake animatronic for the day. However, at the end of the party, when Brad's mom came to pick him up, we couldn't find him anywhere. We also couldn't find Monty, who had apparently left without saying goodbye or without getting paid, according to my dad. All we did was find a bit of blood on the backyard fence. Penultimately, in at number 2, Locked In. Pitch black. Like nothing you've ever seen. Not a sound was made. Not yet, anyway. Then, the nightlights turned on, tinted red. Then a voice, initiating nighttime protocols. That's when it starts. You can almost hear your blood pumping faster as the 4 alcoves light up. Roxy, Chica, Freddy, and Monty, the main animatronics of Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. As the lights turn on, the animatronics themselves come to life, and they don't really take a liking to intruders. I run to the door, but it slams closed in front of me, and the gust of wind nearly knocks me over. I take a second to pause and think, how am I going to get out of here? When all of a sudden my thoughts are cut short by a bright light pointed directly at me. That same voice that initiated nighttime protocols calls out again. Intruder in the entrance cortex, priority target. I hear the walking of the animatronics increase. They're heading my way. Anywhere I move, the light follows me, until I see a hand reach out from the darkness. Come with me, Gregory, it says. It sounds like a woman. I take her hand, and it's kinda furry, but then the lights turn off. And finally, in number 1, Roxy. It was Christmas Eve. I was so excited I couldn't sleep. I was laying in bed, but I just couldn't fall asleep. Eventually, I heard footsteps on the roof. Santa was here, so I had to fall asleep quickly, otherwise he would leave. I quickly shut my eyes, but as I do, I feel a hand on my shoulder. I look up and I see what I think is Roxanne Wolf. It has plastic like fur, sharp teeth, and a weird soothing smile. It motioned for me to follow him. I figured it was trying to help me see Santa, so I followed. We get down to the living room and I look to the tree. No Santa. I get upset because he must have left, but I hear something in the chimney. I jump for joy, but Roxy moves in front of me. As I turn around to see Santa, something else comes down the chimney. It looks old and torn and dirty, like it had just dug itself out of a grave. It looks like Freddy, but bigger and scarier. This Roxy moved me back, getting me out of the way, and motioned for me to run to the door. I didn't know what to do, at least until the giant bear burst through my back window, carrying the body of my father, who was dressed in a Santa costume. I closed my eyes, then everything went cold. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been Inch, I'll remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. At least, unless Roxy gets you first.